You know, we've always been respectable. Why you shame us, Marco? Why you go disgracious running around with these hoodlums, huh? Why you not get a good job like Luigi here, you know? He work in a slaughterhouse. Or you get a respectable job like Bruno, you know? He go drive a truck. Oh, like Mario, you know? You wait at the tables. Why? Tell me why? Why you not get a good job like a Marco, huh? Why you always ducking and thinking for the house? Why you do
Thank you very much indeed, and good evening and welcome to the show. Just prior to the start of the show, somebody asked me, what is it like to appear on television in front of a live audience? And what happens inside? And in actual fact, there's a great deal of excitement within oneself, because I suppose the adrenaline starts to work and the heart starts to pump and the seconds go away. They go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and the start of the show comes and very exciting. I was, strangely enough, I was in a bar the other day. I don't often go into bars. Once I'm in, I stay in. And I got talking to a fellow and I said, would you like a drink? And he said, no thanks, I tried it once, I don't like it. I said, well, a game of darts. He said, no thanks, I tried it once, I don't like it. I said, a game of bar billiards. He said, I tried it once, I don't like it. My son will play. I said, I bet he's your only son. You get the two Irish fellas open a bar, and nobody ever comes in. Nobody comes in to drink. And one says, I think we'll open a brothel. He said, that'd be no good. If we can't get him to drink beer, how the hell are we going to get him to drink broth? You get a golfer, worst aware for the booze. Gets onto the first tee, unwraps a ball, puts it down, he goes, boom, and it goes whoosh, into the lake. Unwraps another new ball, puts it down, he goes whoosh, into the woods. Unwraps another new ball, puts it down, whoosh, over onto the road. And his caddy says, why don't you use an old ball for this hole? He said, I've never had one. You get the other two golfers on the fairway, and they come across a fellow who's sitting there in the middle of the fairway, and his friend is in the long grass, going, and after about 10 minutes, one of these fellows says, why don't you help your friend look for his ball? He said, it hasn't lost his ball. He said, well, what's he looking for? He said, he's looking for his club. There's a gentleman walking down the road very late at night, and a little drunk steps out and he says, hey, excuse me, sir. I wonder, could you help me, because I have come upon hard times. I've lost everything. Oh, I've lost everything. Everything. I've got nothing in the world except this loaded revolver which I'm pointing at you. Get the other fella. Marries a sweet young thing. And for a year, everything is bliss. And then something happens. And they begin to dislike one another. And the dislike grows to hate. And the hate grows to nonchalance. And she gets very bitter and becomes a nag. And he takes to the drink. And about 8 years after the marriage, he's away from home and he gets a telegram from the undertaker saying that your wife has died. What would you like her? To be buried, embalmed, or cremated? And he sent a telegram back saying, All three, take no chances. You get a fellow in a bar saying, I have a number of daughters, and none of them are very attractive. But to the man who marries my 25-year-old daughter, I am prepared to give £5,000. And to the man who marries my 30-year-old daughter, who is rather bandy and curly-headed and losing her teeth, I'm prepared to give £10,000. And to the 40-year-old one, who's a right old spinster, I am prepared to give £15,000. And the drunk says, you don't have one of about 65, do you? Yeah. You get a fellow walks into a bar and a little drunk goes up to him and he says, Was it you or your brother that got killed in the war? You get a fellow who hears about his wife's infidelity and goes on the booze, gets stoned out of his mind, blasted, and then a great rage hits him and he comes home. And he says, I have heard about your infidelity. You betrayed me, and I'm going to put an end to it all. And he takes out this revolver, loads it, and he says, I am going to put an end to it all. And she's sitting in the corner laughing. And he says, don't laugh, you're next. God, that holy water is good. I wonder if you've ever come across the expression, officer material. And that's something that's always puzzled me. What is officer material? And we rang up the War Office to get the War Office definition. And it means a keen sense of judgment, strong nerves, the ability to make quick decisions, and above all, a keen natural intelligence.
Sir, is correct, sir? Very good, Sergeant. Thank you very much, sir. No! Sergeant, beware minefield. Not there. There.
Enemy aircraft bearing red 50.
Dive, dive, dive! Permission to speak, sir. Dive! But, sir, we...
Dive when you're told!
Look!
God, sir, we're trapped. It's curtains for us, I'm afraid.
I don't think so, Carruthers. I think we'll get out of this all right.
But how, sir?
German fighting troops are the most highly disciplined troops in the world. They are trained to obey orders from childhood without once questioning them. I am just about to put a little theory to the test. Abdullah! Halt! Echten Abdullah umkehren ab! The final one. Fire. Fire! you go.
More.
No more. Finish. Finish. You can come back now. Come. No, come.
No, wait.
No.
I sang đây, ai đây? Ai ơi, không. Trời ơi. Chắc kỳ. Mày chạy đâu rồi?
Bonjour, mes amis. L'empereur. Bonjour, l'empereur.
Cái đi hoa đi. Do nó hết kẹt.
Why do I always miss the boat?
There are wars and wars, but there is one war which has been going on for always, and we never speak of it, and that is the war, the undeclared war between the female sex and the male sex. And that is a war. It starts from childhood when we read those children's poems, when we are told that little girls are made from sugar and spice and all things nice. And we're made from frogs and snails and puppy dog tails. I bet you that was written by a woman. Big, fat, butch type. And girls are told, girls from little children, little girls are told from the very start, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Exactly, but they're not talking about love, they're talking about heart failure. Feed him up! Give him good food, let him get fat! He won't be able to move. He'll get fatter and fatter, no exercise, boom, he'll have to go. And then you go off and collect the insurance. Do you know that most widows get married a second and even a third time? And you know why? Because dead men tell no tales. No doubt that women are more sophisticated than men. You get the three chaps talking about the definition of sophistication. And one said, how would you describe the epitome of sophistication? He said, well, I personally would describe the epitome of sophistication as when you're lying in bed with a rather beautiful young lady. The door opens and there stands a husband who looks at you and said, I'm terribly sorry. Closes the door and he goes away. That, to me, would be the epitome of sophistication. He said, no, I don't agree. No, I don't agree. To me, the epitome of sophistication is when you're lying in bed with this rather beautiful young lady. The door opens and there stands her husband who said, I'm terribly sorry. Please do carry on. Closes the door and he goes away. And the other one said, no. To me, the epitome of sophistication is when you're lying in bed with this rather beautiful young lady. And the door opens and there stands her husband who said, I'm terribly sorry. Please do carry on. He closes the door and goes away. And if you can carry on, that to me is the epitome. There's a point every week I get to in the show, and that is to introduce a certain amount of items that have... And I always have trouble oh, God help me.
Yes, my son.
I didn't know God was an old Etonian.
Leave it to me. I've always fancied myself in show business. Ladies and gentlemen, the next group of comedy pieces have nothing in common. Therefore, I would, if I may, like to introduce them with this introduction. What else can I say except it is my fervent hope. Oh, God help me! Oh, me help me!
See what I mean? Even he can't do it.
All right, this is a stick-up.
Or not to be? That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take up arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them?
Hamlet, your tea's ready.
To be or not to be?
Hamlet, your tea.
Oh, I'll sort it all out tomorrow.
536982.
Yeah?
Here you are. Your old auntie's hit your cake.
Oh, yeah. All right, tough. Thank you. Well, you going to open it then? Yeah, all right. Here, I'll take it. Sure. Oh, a letter. Yeah. What's it say then? Wait a minute. On the other side. It says, Dear nephew. That's not your name. Here is one of my special cakes. I think you'll find it will help you with what you want to do. Love, auntie. Special cake. It's a violin. A violin in the cake. Well, let's open it up then. Right. Yeah, go. It's rock hard, isn't it? Useless, isn't it, Auntie's special cake? Well, it's not my fault, is it? Cake.
Prisoner at the bar, before I sentence you, do you have anything to say?
Sweet F.A.
Mr. Fawcett, what did the man say?
Sweet F.A., my lord.
Extraordinary. I could have sworn he said something.
What are you doing in bed with my wife?
You're right. He is stupid.
What are we going to play now?
Hello, follow me leader.
Yes, follow me.
According to the Church of Rome, there are 143 ways of committing sin. And I've written to my friend in Rome to find out what they are. I like to know what I'm missing. No, the thing I've always often, what is it like to have an audience with the Pope? I mean, what do you talk about? I mean, you can't walk in and say, "How's the wife?" You read recently that the Prime Minister of Israel went to see Mrs. Goldie Meir. She went, and she is the first Jewish Prime Minister ever to have an audience with the Pope. She didn't go there to cement religious relationships. She went to give him the bill for the Last Supper. There is no doubt that the Jewish people have got the sharpest business brain in the world. For example, you get three fellows sitting in a train. A Jewish fellow, an Englishman, and an Arab. And a fly appears and goes and lands on the Englishman's shoulder, and he goes and off it goes. It goes and lands on the Arab's shoulder, and he goes About 2 minutes on it, another little fly goes, lands on the Englishman, he goes, lands on the Jewish fellow, and he picks it up, and he goes, leans across to the Arab, and he said, "Do you want to buy a fly?" I like religious gags. Get the nun walking down the corridor and bangs a knee, and she goes, "Oh, damn!" She goes, "Oh, God, I shouldn't have said damn. Oh, bloody hell, I shouldn't have said God. Oh, knickers, I didn't want to be a nun anyhow." You've got the nun from the convent in Italy is writing her biography. And a newspaper reporter comes to see her. And he said, "Would you tell me what actually happened?" And she said, it was a very bad. It was a very bad. Because the fascists, they took over our country. Mussolini. And they come to our convent and they rape all of the nuns. Except the Sister Matilda. And then the German army, they come to our convent and they rape all of the nuns. Me, everybody except the Sister Matilda. And then the fascists, they retreat. And they come again and they rape all of the nuns. Except the Sister Matilda. And the Germans, they retreat and they rape us again, except the Sister Matilda. And then the Americans come and they rape us, except the Sister Matilda. And then the British, they come and they rape all of the nuns, me included, except the Sister Matilda. And the fellow said, "Just one moment." I said, "Are you telling me you were raped by 4 or 5 different armies?" She said, "That is so." "Every nun except Sister Matilda?" She said, "See?" He said, "Well, why didn't they rape Sister Matilda?" He said, "Sister Matilda doesn't like that sort of thing." The fool! A question I'm continually being asked is, do I think that God takes offense about the religious gags in the show? And in all honesty, I have no idea, because we're not on speaking terms anymore. Made a lousy introduction, didn't he? But I honestly do not see God as a stern, poker-faced Puritan. I really don't. I see God as a big, round, happy, jolly, laughing type figure. Somebody who likes a joke. Somebody who has the ability to laugh at himself. Please?
Never in my life, in all the years I've been in the confession, have I heard such a foul, disgusting confession. There are 7 deadly sins, but you appear to have started another 7. Now, I want you for your penance to say 10 rosaries a day and pray for 3 hours. Pray for forgiveness. That is the most disgusting confession I have ever heard in my life. Now get out! Lovely dog. Thank you for bringing him. Next, please. Oh, what a lovely big rabbit. He is a nice fellow, isn't he? Thank you for bringing him to the church. Next. Oh, pussycat. What a lovely Right, sister? All right. Right. Give me the Guinness Book of Records.
Excusez-moi, monsieur le curateur. Parlez-vous français?
Oui.
Oh, je dois parler avec vous maintenant. Oh, j'adore tous les hommes. C'est terrible. Oh, les hommes, les matelots, les soldats. Les hommes et mon esclave. Et je suis la maîtresse vert avec mon fouet grand. Et mes butines en cuir énorme. Je préfère les lingeries. Tous les vices. Oh, les modes de marquis de ça, de position, de carrosserie. C'est dommage.
Well, people think that when you get to heaven, there's a big pair of pearly gates waiting for you. It's not so. There are 2 entrances. And over one entrance is, enter here all men who have been dominated by their wives during their life. And on the other side is, enter here all men who have not been dominated by their wives during their life. And at the first gate, there is a gigantic queue. And at the second one, there is one little fella. Skinny, shallow-fested, bald, with a dewdrop. And St. Peter comes out and he said, "Why are you standing here?" And he said, "My wife told me to." You know, they say that man's best friend is a dog. Doesn't say that much for the rest of us, does it? Dog. You get a little drunk, goes into a fellow, and he says, do you know that your dog is chasing motor cars? I say, I am quite aware that my dog is chasing motor cars. It is dog instinct to chase anything that moves. He said, I know, but your dog is catching them and burying them in the garden. Leave me alone. Don't worry about it. Thanks for the priests. We're all worried about friendship. But what is friendship? And more important, what is a friend? A friend is somebody who will always give you a helping hand. A friend is somebody who, when you're down and out, doesn't kick you. A friend is somebody who will always share his last crust with you. A friend is somebody, when you're cold, will stand up and give you his seat by the fire. A friend is somebody who will lend you money when you're broke. And he will be friend enough never ever to mention that. I don't have any friends. And I'm glad. Because if somebody's going to be that friendly, they've got to be after something. But all this chat about friendship, it is probably very obvious to you that I am about to introduce some old friends. You're right.
People of the Republic, welcome on this wonderful, fine, sunny day.
Up there is the big fat President Pig. This time I get him, I blow him to pieces. I have devised a new method. I swing this round my head and I drop it right on top of him.
1, 2, 3. Never again will we down on
Haunch of venison I ever tasted.
You should know, Briar.
What was you saying about Maid Mary?
Where's little John?
He's down in the forest, Robin.
Yeah, he's what's that, Robin?
That's my latest invention.
Well, that's a strange-looking arrow, Robin.
Aye, what does it do, Robin?
Well, you know how those cowardly Normans hide behind the trees?
Aye.
Well, it won't be any use anymore. I fire this arrow at the tree. The impact of the arrow hitting the tree releases the spring, and these two arms come around the tree and either kill or capture the Norman.
That never worked, Robin. That never worked.
It will work. I'll show you. You see that tree over there?
Aye.
Right, now hang on a second. But little John wasn't here to see that.
2 goats, 1 male and 1 female.
2 rabbits.
2 rabbits.
1 male, 1 female.
1 male, 1 female. And now, 2 of each species. 1 male, 1 female. That's what he said. You and your mate. 1 male, 1 female.
Yes, my dear, you are right. That's it. The law of gravity. What goes up must come down.
Hello, dear. I've just been to the market. Oh, the prices. Apples are going up again.
Poor Anne Boleyn. No more will she need this hat. Come in, number 3. Hello, Jane.
Still got a last request.
See, I would like my brother to go. He had nothing to do with the crime.
Oh, I believe you. He may go then.
Fine. All right, you can go. Go on.
Padre, he's done it again. El Presidente said if I let him escape again, I was to be shot by my own firing squad. Men, take aim here and fire.
Story of a little Irish fellow. And every time he walks into a bar, big English fellas go over and say, "Hey, mate, you Irish?" And he said, I am that sort. And they go, boom! And they smash him to pieces. And after about 6 months, he thinks, I'm going to do something about this. Because we're quick thinkers. He said, I'm going to learn the art of self-defense. I'm going to become a karate expert. And he goes off and buys a book on karate, and it's no good because it's bloody street maps, that's all, nothing more. He buys a book on karate. And after 3 months of studying this book, he is up to the little plank in which he stands in front of, and he goes, boom! Breaks it to pieces. And after 3 months, he's up to the thicker plank, and he stands, boom! He breaks that. And after a year of studying this book, he is up to the brick. And he stands in front of the brick and he goes, He smashes the brick to pieces. And he thinks to himself, now let an Englishman say a word to me. By God, I'll cut him in half. And he's in the bar that night, he's having a drink, and he's going... He's only a little fella. And two of the biggest English fellows in the world walk in and they say, you Irish? He said, I am that, sir. I am that. How would you like a broken kneecap? And while he's looking up, the fella puts the knee in. Boom! Straight under the chin. Down he goes. The second one puts the foot in. Boom! 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 Pick him up by the hair, throw him right through the pub door. Down in the gutter he lands, breaks his arm, there's blood pouring out of his head, and there's a brick there, and he goes, I don't think that gag was worth it. I spilt more booze than I should have done. One of the deepest emotions that we as human beings have is the emotion of fear. And people are frightened by various things. Some people are frightened by the dark. Some people are frightened by cupboards. People are frightened by the supernatural, and others by their own imagination. But when night falls and darkness descends, and we think that we are tucked safely away in our own beds, who knows what is outside waiting to get in. happens every night. Good night. Thank you, and may your God go with you.